Welcome to Scale With Us, the podcast for business owners navigating the absolute chaos of scaling a business and juggling all that life throws at you along the way.
Each week, we'll be talking about our wins and fails and everything in between because let's be real, it's not all smooth scaling.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let's get into it.
Something that we both said we wanted to work on in season 1 was our email marketing. Yes. And it feels like something we've both started doing a lot more of.
The
So,
bullet. I think we talked in season 1 about the fears that we had around it or not making time for it. And I think, for both of us, we've put effort and time into it, but also got over the fear of, emailing our database.
yeah.
Um,
Are you seeing results from it, do you think?
yeah, 100%. Like we were just chatting before this around like open rates and that kind of thing. And I think, my biggest win is we have pretty consistent email marketing going out now. So if there's something going out
Well
to our
done.
database at least once a week,
Yeah.
and surprise, surprise, it sells products, and we get leads from it now, which is crazy to think that a lot of us have businesses with databases, or maybe we don't have database in some instances with some clients, that we're not doing much with. We've experimented a lot with different kinds of content, trying to move away from a newslettery type piece
Yeah.
of content to like when we have we want to push a specific
Message
offer, or we're trying to promote our PMBA Business Accelerator, or we're trying to promote a pack that we've got on our website. We're trying to send out like a targeted message, like to speak to the specific people in there. We work a lot on the subject lines,
Yeah.
a lot on the messaging within there to try and make sure it doesn't sound like a very generic message. It sounds like, hey, if you're this kind of person and you have this kind of problem, like this is the thing for you and this is why it's the thing for you and here's the action that you need to take.
Yeah.
And I think that's worked really well. We probably like once a month we send out now one called like the Sidekick Edit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that sort of
saw
just
that.
has a few things about what's happening. But
Yeah.
that's really the only like newslettery thing that we're sending. But even still, it's got like a personal opinion piece at the top, which will lead into one of the things that we're talking about. And so, as I said, like we're getting more product. We get product sales off the back of it on our website. We get people, registering their interest or asking us more about the programs. And our open rates have, really increased. We're just saying, industry average is 20 to 30. And at the moment, we're doing between was 30 and 40% for like our last few months of emails, which
Yeah,
is
that's wild.
which is
That's
really,
really
really
good.
good for we've got a very large database there. So
Yep.
it's really, really strong. But so I think that also comes from consistency, right? Because people get used to seeing your name and the quality that's in there and they open it up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully if
done.
anyone's
That's
listening
so
and they
good.
don't like my emails, let me know. But we've put a lot of work into them. And I've noticed like you guys are pretty consistent at sending stuff out now.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
definitely.
really like the style of emails you send. It's like ask a question or really kind of triggers interest in
Yeah, we're
parts of
trying to
it.
go for the ones that we just put so much work into the actual subject line because if you're not getting that right, that's where the open rate comes from, obviously. So, it's got I almost want it to be a little bit clickbaity. But it's funny, I did a new style last week. I thought I'll just test it, and we had a couple of great virtual assistants that we had interviewed, and they might have been the second choice for someone, or they might have just not been, 100% right for
That
a
particular
client.
client.
Yeah, so we had 5, and I thought I'm just going to put an email together and just see if I can get, these great candidates a position. And so the email was, have we just interviewed your perfect virtual assistant, and had some details about each of them and the open rate on that and the actual reply, people saying that they
People
were
wondering, is this
interested.
relevant for me?
Yeah, so that might be something. If you're doing some targeted email, you might be able to put, have we just found your, perfect tenant, or have we just found your, perfect.
Well, is this the home view? I think
Yeah.
like in our space, because I've been seeing this a lot because I go in helping people with their email and database and marketing a lot lately. And like even like property listing emails, right? Like if you're sending those out to your database, it's usually like they leave the subject line as, new property alert 123 Smith Street. And it doesn't, like, if they're then used to getting that from you and 5 other
Yeah.
agencies,
How boring.
boring. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to look at it, right? Or they're just going to go through and go, archive, whereas, is this the home for you? Or, this is this the 3-bedroom home that you've been looking for? Like, really specific. I think people are sometimes scared to do that because they're worried, oh, what if that doesn't apply to the rest of the database? But
That's
they're
fine.
just going to either
Yeah.
delete it or they'll unsubscribe if it's not relevant to them. So I think that's what we really want to talk about today is then, the fact that email still matters. There's a lot of talk around, oh, does email still work? I think email does still work. And I
Yeah.
actually think it's a very important part of any business's funnel. And I think we want to move beyond just in our industry. It's like, oh, sending out property listings and alerts and just solds, just leases, like all of that type of stuff to work out, okay, how can we actually use our email database to generate more business and more interest in our services.
Yeah.
So I think that I usually see that the database in most businesses is like the number one poorly performed function. Like, it's not treated like the quality of data, say we'd put in our property management systems. It's
Yeah.
sort of, there's bits of data here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes the data's not even going in there. Business last week, all of their website leads, like none of them are going in the database.
Oh no.
Like, so I'm like, well, where are all the website leads? Oh, we email them across here to the BDM. I'm like, oh, so what if they're not ready to go ahead?
They just get lost.
They're just in her calendar or something. I'm like, okay, so then if we're going to do any email marketing, like that, those people are not going to get it. So if they're not ready to go now, like they're coming in as a lead at that top of the funnel, then nothing's happening. And there's no chance of warming them up over time and them to become a client eventually,
Yeah.
unless that BDM tries to call them in 6 or 12 months time and maybe they don't
But
answer.
if the
Now with call
BDM
screening, like,
moves on, then you've got
gone.
gone
Nada.
skiers.
So I think that's like one thing is I really see people aren't putting all of their leads in, and that, their data is also not well segmented.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, you might have 10,000 contacts in there, but we don't know which of those are prospective landlords, which are past buyers, sellers, like all of that type of thing. And
Do
then
you find that a bit tricky though? Like, just thinking about segmenting and sending the right communication to the right person. Like, a landlord could also be a potential buyer, and they could
Yeah.
have also bought a home previously as well, which they have if they're a landlord. Like, how do you
Well, you've
make
got to know your
sure?
CRM, right? So
Yeah.
you got to either have, contact classes, categories, tagging, like, and get really good at doing that. I think it's really hard because a lot of the CRMs aren't really great at automating that stuff. So it takes an individual to come in and like
Do it.
and do it and self-categorize. Like, we've got a CRM we use in our coaching business, right? Like, you can say, okay, if someone comes in through this channel, automatically apply that tag, right? So if they've come through the, website form, for like an agency, they come through your rental appraisal request website form, that should filter into your database and it'll automatically tag them as a prospective landlord. But half the websites don't speak to the CRM, so it's a manual person that needs to go in and do it and remember to add the tag.
Yeah.
So I think that there's some CRMs that, are starting to think better around that, but I think that needs to be a lot more automated to help people categorize the data so that then when you do want to send a piece of email marketing that's maybe trying to find new landlords within your database or maybe you want to send out an email saying, hey, we've got some really amazing tenants. Is this the next tenant for your home? Are you looking at renting out your home soon? You can specifically send it to that segment of people and not, the whole entire 10,000 of all the buyers and sellers and everyone, which might not be relevant.
Yeah.
So I think, having the leads in there and having them all categorized as one. And then I think, I mean, I don't know what you see, but I see that then there's not much creativity going into what's going out, right? We have a lot of the systems have automated just listeds,
Oh, absolutely.
maybe like a generic monthly newsletter about, I don't know, 10 ways to clean out your home this spring, like very generic stuff that doesn't help you get to know, like, and trust the business, doesn't sort of make any offers to book a call, have a chat, doesn't warm those people up to actually want to use the business at the end of the day.
Totally.
And I think, that comes down to time, but also then I think it comes down to this fear, like, that we had of not wanting to, spam or bombard your database. But then some people are sending nothing.
Yeah.
There's one business I was in the other week. It was like we had like thousands of leads sitting in their CRM And I was like, oh, when's the last time we communicated with them? And like, oh, well, we've got them on follow-ups to speak to them every, 12 months. I'm like, okay, let's look at your follow-ups. Oh, well, they're all a bit behind. We've got like 600 people we need to speak
Oh,
to.
wow.
And it's like, okay, so we're behind on our calls and follow-ups. We've got thousands of people sitting in there that we're not speaking to. And you're asking me, where do we go to find new landlord leads? Like I'm going, well, let's start with looking at this
Yeah.
database. Like let's segment the data, work out, okay, these are all people that we've done appraisals for in the past, but that didn't go ahead. Right. And then with that, that particular client, like we did some email and SMS marketing to kind of, I called it going fishing in that database. And just by some simple, we did like 9-word emails, just like saying, hey, you still think, are you ready to rent out your home? We've got lots of tenants looking in the area at the moment. Like 20 people coming back and engaging in conversation.
That 9-word email works so well. So if anyone listening that doesn't know what that is, it's an email that looks like just a written email, like not a one with a fancy banner or anything up the top. It's just literally like, hey,
Yeah, it looks like
Jenny.
you've written.
Yeah, like a personal email. Hey, Jenny, are you still looking at buying a property this year? And it gets a lot of replies because people think you've actually taken the time to write an email directly to them. And it's short, it's a question, and people go, oh, no, thanks, or yes,
Yeah,
please.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
But I think you can even do that like with the just listeds and stuff. I think people are so conditioned to see a marketing looking email and switch off. There's one client I've got up the coast. I don't usually touch sales land, but with them we've been doing a little bit of stuff with their sales CRM because we want to replicate what we've done in PM. But so they actually turned off their automated just listeds, and what they do now is they make it like a personally written looking email to the same
I like
group of
that.
buyers that are in there, but it will say, again, catchy headline, is this your new home? Like, hey, we just want to let you know we've got this new home. They don't put the whole listing description in there. They go, it's this, it's that, like, here's who it would suit. If that's you, reply back and let us know. And now they get people writing back, oh, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah.
Like people are engaging with
question.
the email and the content versus just the same old stuff going out.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we rely on the automation, but if it's not effective,
What's the point?
and also half the time I go, oh, so what's your open rates on those just listers? And people don't know.
Yeah.
So it's email marketing. Like there's a whole science around it, and it can be really like a numbers game. You can really turn it into a system that works for you. Yeah, if you recognize the importance of it, and if you can make it consistent, if you get over the fear of like emailing your database too much, because at the end of the day, if it is too much for someone, well,
They'll
they'll
unsubscribe.
unsubscribe, right? And if they want to use you again at some point, I'm sure they'll come back into your world, but maybe they're not the right client for you then. Like I would rather have people unsubscribing that aren't then my ideal client or the people that I want to work with, so that then I know that the people I'm emailing are actually
Want to read it,
people
and
that
you've got
wanna
great
hear my
open
stuff.
rates, so it's obviously happening for you.
I know, but I used to freak out about unsubscribes.
Oh, me
Like
too.
it's so funny. I used to we'd send out emails to thousands of people right at once. And like we'd have good open rates. So like, there's thousands of people opening it, but I would go and look at the 3 or 4 people on there that would
Who are they?
unsubscribe. I'm like, why don't they love me? But at the end of the day, like, and I remember one day I saw like one of my clients in there, like messaged my client, like, oh, hey, you just unsubscribed from my email. Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, I just get too many emails. Like,
Yeah.
nothing against you. Like, I talk to you enough. I know what you're doing. I follow you on socials. Like, it's no offense. Like,
Why
I
are you
just
so
don't want to get your
needy?
email. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and that's the whole thing. And then I realized my behaviors,
Yeah.
like there's brands that I love and I follow on, say, socials, or like I will go and purchase from when I want to purchase from them.
Yeah.
But I've unsubscribed from their emails because I don't want their emails in my inbox.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But then there's some that I do keep in my inbox because they're valuable. So it's just because someone's unsubscribing, it doesn't mean that, the business is
not
doomed.
about you. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's more than looking at, okay, this is another key metric that businesses don't track. Okay, what's the size of that database? If it's, investors that you're trying to, you're trying to grow your rent roll, maybe not your whole database if you've got sales as well, but what's the size of that investor database, anyone that's tagged as a potential investor, and then tracking that on a monthly basis, like tracking how many emails you've sent, tracking what the open rates are, tracking how many leads or clicks that you've got off it. And then it becomes, as I said, a numbers game, and you can just start to see it growing and improving. And that's like, well, like, if we're getting, if there's 1,000 people in there and 30% of people opening, so 300 people are opening and we're getting, 10% of people clicking and then one lead comes off that email, it's a science that you can usually
Absolutely.
rinse and repeat.
It's wild because businesses like ours, we have to do lead magnets and things to get people's email addresses, whereas real estate agencies, PM agencies, like they literally collect thousands and thousands of emails.
Well, it's a big disconnect. If you've got a sales and PM department and you're getting, 100 inquiries through your sales department every week, and that's a small business.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, that data doesn't get effectively categorized.
Yeah.
And when those people are getting spoken to, they're like, oh, do you have interest in this property? No. Okay, see you later. They're not like then being discovered, okay, well, like, are they a future seller? Are they a future landlord? Like, they're not then effectively categorized to market to in the future. It's a big gap. So I think probably, the biggest lessons I see in this is like, one is that your database is really like a really valuable asset, because we talk a lot about socials and content, right? But at the end of the day, you don't own that.
Yeah.
Like, if for some reason Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn all switched off tomorrow, and you've got a good following and engagement there, but you don't have people in your database,
That's true.
you've got no control and power over it.
Yeah.
So I do actually think like there is a need for, yes, they get a lot of buyer data through, but like, say if you're a rent roll trying to grow and you want more landlords, like you do need to have some way of getting them into your database, which might be that lead magnet. It might be that you have exclusive investor news and updates for your region that they need to access. It might be that that's where they're going to be able to access some sort of special offer from you or something, but there has to be some sort of enticement to come off your socials and engage with you. Maybe you've got like a local area market report, and that's what you can put out there and say, hey, we've got this report. If you want to grab it, let us know, and let us know your email, and make sure that person's going in there, so that then you're building that. It is actually an asset that you own in your business that you can market to as often as you want.
How many emails would you recommend a PM team email to their database a week?
How many
emails? Just once? One a week?
I think it should be one a week, but the problem is that there's not really any education on what else to send other than a landlord newsletter.
Yeah.
Right. And a landlord newsletter is usually that generic content around, don't forget your smoke alarms, or it's, it's this or it's that. Whereas it's like, if you have a strategy in place where it's like, okay, well, you've got a database there of 500 potential leads sitting in there. I think you can send something each week if there's a way to add value in that, or there's a way to, maybe one of the week is a 9-word email where you're able to say like, hey, we've got some really great tenants looking for homes in X suburb right now. If you or anyone you know is looking to rent out your home, reply back, right? Like, that's 1 week.
Yeah.
Maybe the second week is that, you've got a really great investment property that your sales team is selling. Like, go and put that again, like send that out as an email to all those investors. Like, hey, don't know if you're looking to purchase your next investment property, but we've got a really great investment property in this suburb, currently getting really great rental return, tenant in there for another 12 months. If that's of interest, respond back and let us know.
Yeah.
That's week 2. Maybe number 3 is more of the landlord newsletter, but making sure it goes to, your specific content on your website. And I usually say, like, don't put the whole blog or content in the newsletter.
Yes, you got to
write it like it's a personal opinion piece and be like, hey, we're getting a lot of questions at the moment about smoke alarms from our landlord. So we've put together a handy guide. All you need to do is click through here and you're going to read the 5 top tips we have for managing your smoke alarms this winter.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's a personal opinion from the person coming through.
Yeah, love that.
And then, like maybe the last one is actually a market update, which is your opinion on the market. Like, it's maybe you jumping on it, ideally a video. But if not, like, hey, just wanted to share a couple of insights on what the rental market's doing in the area at the moment. Vacancies at this, blah, blah, blah. We're seeing above average results for this, so if anyone is looking to rent out your home, give us a call.
Yeah.
So that's 4 weeks worth of content. That's a different email each week.
Yeah,
that can go out to a landlord database.
Yep.
That it's not going to then seem spammy. It's not going to seem like you're just sending out the same thing every week because it's different kinds of content.
Different. Yeah.
It's just, like for property management in particular. Sales is probably a bit different because they're usually sending a lot more of the just listeds and the just leads. But again, I like we said before, I try and look at ways to push that content out, but in a more personalized way than the generic looking just listed, just lead stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's like, if it looks less generic, then people are going to be more willing to open it, I would say.
Yeah. We used to get really high open rates on the really beautiful upper North Shore homes. And it's just people being nosy. Like they want to see what a $10 million home looks like. So I don't know. I had a thought before around if I was a landlord, I would want to see that the agency is sending out my property to be leased to their database as well. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, is that spammy still to like email each property out individually? Or is that just one of those ones that are going to get, get deleted?
That's a good question. I mean, ideally, and this maybe comes from because I used to work with Inspect Real Estate, and obviously it's got a really good tenant matching system. So it knows that if I've inquired on a 3-bedroom home in Manly, I'm then going to be only matched and receive updates on that kind of property. And I know that some of the CRMs do that automatically as well. But some of them don't. So some of them, like everyone just gets added in as a buyer. And then everybody gets every type of like update. I think that's a recipe for getting mass unsubscribes, because if you're sending me 1-bedroom apartments and I'm looking for a 3-bedroom home, like you've lost me. I'm probably going to be like, I don't need this in my inbox.
For sure.
So making sure whatever CRM you're using has that automatic categorization would be a really important way to do that. So that you're, not spamming, because I think then it,
especially if you do high volume, you should be sending out a few emails a day for every new property or,
It can be, for your high volume agency.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got several sales agents and you've got new listings coming on every week, it could get quite loud. There's some cool systems though that will allow also people to self-categorize. I think Active Pipe might be one of them. So it's like when someone comes into the database, it sends them an email going like, hey, we're going to keep you updated. Can you let us know exactly what you're looking for? So that then, and that backfills the database to be able to make sure that the information that it has in the database is correct. And so then the matches going out are going to be fairly correct.
That's good.
Yeah. So in that case, coming back to your question, well, maybe the landlord's not going to be in that segmented group of group of data. But it's valid what you're saying is that if let's say I'm a buyer or a tenant in your database, but I'm also a landlord or a vendor, then I might want to see, well, you're coming out and pitching to me saying you're going to do all this email marketing. But I'm either not getting it, or then I start saying, oh, it's just the same generic. There's no customization for me and my property. So that's what I'm saying. If you could like change it to send one email going, hey, here's why we love this property, or if you're this kind of person, like this would be the type of property for you. Like it's going to be really, like really nice targeted marketing, and it coming from that personal brand voice, which I think that's what gets you more cut through. And probably the experience we've had is like putting more of that personal conversational type emails out is getting much more traction.
Yeah, totally.
And then so it's making sure everyone's in the database, looking at different ways to email out so you're not spamming. And then I think the third piece is creating it into a system so it's consistent. Because if you wait to when you feel like sending out an email, I mean, we know like it's going to fall to the bottom of the list. So it probably needs to become like a system in your business. Same way you do your rent reviews and your routines periodically. It's like there's got to be a time in your calendar for preparing that piece of email content. And if you're stuck for ideas, go back and listen to our AI episode, because that, if you're stuck for ideas of what to send, well, we just gave you 4 before, but you can then go and plug that into ChatGPT and get it to write it all for you.
Because how many pieces of content does it take for someone to really take notice now? And like email's part of that. That if they're consistently seeing your name, in their
Oh, I mean, they
email.
used to say it was 7. I think it's gone up to like 14 or something
Yeah.
now with all the oversaturation of marketing that's out there.
Yeah.
Um,
And just because someone doesn't open your email, they're still seeing your name, the subject line, like
Mm.
that helps for what's like
Mm.
repetition, brand recognition, like
Oh, and it works because, like, I mean, we've gone back, we don't do this for every person, but sometimes I've like had someone, book a discovery call and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know that person. Like, often if someone's booking a call, to ask about the mastermind, maybe I've already chatted with them on socials, already know who they are.
yep.
Sometimes someone books a call and I'm like, oh, wow, like, I don't know who this person
Yeah.
is. And I'll go back and I'll see, am I connected with them on socials? Are they in my email database? And sometimes I go in and I'm like, oh, they've not only been getting my emails, but they've been opening them for 3, 6, 9, 12 months.
Wild.
And it's like finally, obviously, they've seen the brand enough, they've got the messaging, and they're at a point, that email that I've sent that
That
I was
one
fearful to
subject
send
line.
before is the one that's made them go, yep, I want to book that call and
Yep.
have a chat. So I think it's the importance of consistency and like regularly communicating with the database. But I think I'm sure we spoke about it last season, or maybe one of the early episodes this season, is around having some sort of like welcome sequence or campaign when they
nurture
first come in your
sequence.
world. We set this up with a lot of clients now. Like if they like like what we talked about on the website episode, not everyone wants to come into your world and book an appraisal. So having that lead magnet or having that way for them to join up to your market news or investor news or whatever, making sure that then there's a welcome email that goes back to them, but also then maybe like a special series that warms them up and helps them get to know you faster than maybe your monthly or sporadic emails is really important as well. And we find on those welcome sequences, like people are always reading those first few because that's when they're hot and they've come into your world. So we've got those strategically designed like a funnel. So it's like, oh, you're a bit cold, but like, hey, here's a freebie. Here's a piece of content you might enjoy, and we're not then going into the sell till maybe like email 3 or 4, like, oh, did you also know like we have a program and hey, like here's where to book a call. And it's usually maybe around that 3rd or 4th that they're reaching back out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, I think
That
I'm
nurture
a
sequence has been big for us as well. When someone downloads a lead magnet or they inquire, and of course they're getting that, email back to say, thank you, here's your downloadable, or, thanks for inquiring, here's a pricing, all of that. But then it's the days following, it's what's going out to them. Yeah, that's been huge. We've actually just redone ours, so fingers crossed. I haven't checked open rates and things, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I think the
important.
other really cool thing, which, we haven't really talked much on ads this season, right? But like if you've got a big, decent database, you can go and create a custom audience in Meta and retarget all of those people again. So
They see an email and then they jump on their socials and you're there.
socials and you're everywhere. You seem like a pretty good option.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like, I mean, there's a few challenges for you is I'd really look at all your leads going into your database. Are they well segmented? When was the last time that you emailed your database, or have you completely ghosted them?
Yeah.
And if you have ghosted them, maybe email them and say, hey, I've ghosted
I'm
you
back.
and I'm back. And like, I want to share some stuff with you. If you don't want to be here, it's totally fine to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
I've seen Ellen Bathgate does that really well. Every now and then she does a bit of a rinse of an
cleanup.
email list and says, hey, if you don't want to be here, no hard feelings, just hit unsubscribe and like you don't have to hear from us anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd imagine she doesn't really probably get many people do that because that's engaging and you're like, oh, that's real.
Yeah.
So yeah, re-engaging with your email database, and then I think turning it into a system would be my suggestions and takeaways for the week.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to go check that we've got an email scheduled for ourselves this week and next week. All right. Amazing. Well,
Found that
thanks for
helpful,
tuning in.
guys.
We actually do have in the Brand Lab pack that we've got available to buy, there is
templates and
some templates and bots in there that can help you with your email marketing as well.
yeah,
So
take the guesswork out of it for you.
yeah, exactly. So be sure to grab that from the show notes, and we'll chat to you next week.
Bye. Open our emails.
Okay, open our emails.
Bye.